Hi everyone, John here. Welcome along to this video. Today's one is how to sound more like a blues pro in 20 minutes. Actually, it's going to be even less than that. It's going to be about 15 minutes, so that's really good. I'm going to show you that solo I played at the beginning there. Now, this is an easy blues solo in the key of A, but just because it's kind of easy and might be a beginning solo, you still want it to sound cool, professional and authentic. So I'm going to show you some tricks here which I'm using in this solo, which if you find them a little bit tricky at first, just leave them out, but as you get more comfortable with it, you can put them in. I'll put the link for the backing track I'm using below, so let's have a look at the first lick. So first one goes like this. Okay, now this lick, we're in A minor pentatonic for pretty much all of this lesson. If you're not familiar with that, I won't go into it in this lesson, but have a look at the link above. I'll send you to the shapes lesson. So what we've got here is, now there's a couple of things in here. So we're going 5 on the B, 5 on the high E, back to 5 on the B. And then what we're going to do up to the 8th fret here. Now what we're going to do straight away, there's a little thing to make you sound more authentic, which is a rake. So what I'm doing is the note I'm playing is just bending up that 8th fret. It's called a curl, so I'm not bending it to this note or that note, somewhere in between. So I could do that. But what I'm doing is I'm adding a rake, and a rake is this. A rake is where you're muting all of the strings with the palm of your right hand, apart from the last note you're hitting. And you get that. So that kind of sound. And then I do this. This is like a Stevie Ray Vaughan idea. This is just where you're really, I'm just putting my finger down anywhere up here. Doesn't really matter where you do it. And I'm hitting the strings and sliding off. So, but I'm trying to mute at the same time. If you find that difficult, just leave it out. So here's the first phrase. That type of thing, all right? Then I'm going to do this. Okay, now this is an idea that you hear a lot in the blues. Where is that coming from? Not the pentatonic scale. Well, this is a little thing called sixths. But for now, what you can think of, let me give you the notes. It's 6 on the G and then 5 on the high E. So what you do, you slide in with your second finger, and that's important, the second finger, to the 6 on the G. Hit the 5 on the high E, and I normally do that with my finger there. So I'm using my pick and my finger. If you don't want to do that, that's all right, you can go. And then slide back to the same shape. So that would be now 4 on the G, 3 on the high E. But really what's ringing there is just kind of maybe that top string. Okay. Now, without getting too complicated, we're playing over a blues in A or A7. This note is the A note. This is what we call the flat 7. So again, makes it sound a bit more authentic than staying on the pentatonic scale. You're going to see that a lot in your blues soloing journey. So let me play those phrases together for you. 2, 3, 4. Now, as I say, you might find that that phrase is enough without that little bit, all right? So just leave it out. Right? And again, if you find that phrase too hard, just leave a gap. Just leave that, okay? So let me play into the next phrase for you. So I'll go from this phrase into the next one. Okay, now this phrase, bit of a challenge because it's a little bit fast, but it's not too tricky. You want a kind of a challenge. really, when you're playing these things, to push the boundary. Otherwise, you never get better. So same lick at first. Why did I do that lick again? Well, your ear likes to kind of hear repetition, and it's nice to have a theme. So if you can keep something going, that's good. Okay, now this lick. 5 on the high E, pull 8 off the 5 on the B, 7 on the G, back to 5 on the B, and then curl. This is where we're taking that 5 on the G and bending it, not to this one, not to that one, but somewhere in between. And then finish on 7 here on the D. You could bend up to that note or down. It's up to you. The sound is the same. So let me put those phrases together. So far we've got this. Next phrase is this. So this, again, A minor pentatonic. It's all A minor pentatonic. So I'm just going 7 on the D to 5 on the G, back to 7 on the D again. Then I'm going to hammer on the 5 to the 7 2 times. Go back to that 7 again and do the hammer on again twice. All right. Now, why am I doing that? Well, in this stage of blues, I'm on the D chord. This is still the pentatonic scale that we know, but because the chord has moved to a D, this note here, you may not be familiar with this just at the moment, but this is a D note, so I'm trying to emphasize that note. D. Then we have this from the next phrase. Now, this one, I've put this one in. This is a challenge. Why is it a challenge? Because of the bend and the vibrato. So, same phrase as we started with. Keeps your ear interested. So I'm bending up now this 8th fret, still pentatonic, on the B string, up to sound like that note there. What is that note? That's an A note, because we're blues in A, so I'm trying to hit the A note. And I'm adding some vibrato on the top. Now, vibrato, don't underestimate it. It is absolutely essential. You want to do your study, listen to your favourite players who you like. And it's got to sound good, you know. If you sound like this, that no one's going to want to listen to you. It has to sound good, has to sound authentic. It might take a while to get a vibrato that you like. I think it took me about a year of researching different players, you know, listening to them. And, you know, you're always trying to get better at it. Okay, so let me go back a little bit and play what we've got so far. 3, 4. Okay, now the next phrase. What we're doing here is hammering on 7 on the G to 8 on the G. Now after you've done that, pull it off to 7. 10 with your little finger on the D string. Back to 7 again. And then curl this 10 here on the D. And back to this note. Now, why am I doing this? What's that? That's the pentatonic scale, not that. Well, this, what I've added now is the blues scale. Now, normally we see this. It's that E note flattened, but you can play it here too. There's an E note. You see that's the same thing, but up what they call an octave. So you don't have to play things in exactly the same position. Okay, so if you did it kind of here, so you could play it there if you wanted to. All right, so now at the end here I put in a thing, again you can leave it out. This is a B.B. King thing. I'm playing the 15th fret, the high E, with a rake again, and then I'll just slide off. Now you may find this tricky because you've got to go all the way up there, but it's a challenge. See if you can put it in. It's used a lot, you hear it a lot. It's kind of like that kind of thing, you know. Actually, I could have done that other one again. But the reason I didn't is because I've already done it, so good to change things around again. Okay, now we're going to go over the E chord. So what I'm going to do is this. So I'm playing the 7th note here on the D string, and then I do a little where it's a muted note really, where I pick that note, but all I've done is left my finger off. And then I'm going to hammer from 5 to 6 on the D. Now, why am I doing this? We're playing over an E7 chord now. And again, I'm just changing one note from the pentatonic scale to make me sound a bit more authentic. Make you sound more authentic too. Can you see that note? That note is the 3rd of E, without getting too complicated, but you can see it. There you go. It's in the chord. That note is your E note, so so it emphasises that E. All right. Now we're going to a D7 chord, so I'm going to emphasise the D. Now what I've included for you is a reverse rake. Reverse rake is where you're going. This is E flat, that's a blues scale again, to the D, all right? But this time what I've done is a reverse rake. So a reverse rake, there's a normal rake, where you're muting the strings going down. This time you're muting the strings going up. This is hard. So again, Stevie Ray Vaughan used to do this a lot, but you're muting those strings with the underside of your 3rd finger. So you get that sound. And then press down on that E note on the 7th fret of the A. So that's the E chord, D, and then we have this. This is the 3rd fret on the A string, curling it 2 times, hitting the A, which is the root note. You want to try and land on the root note in the blues in A if you can. All right. Okay, and then at the end we have this. Okay, now this lick, again, I'm starting on that note. This is a C note here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the blues scale. So this is 3 on the A, 5, 6, 7. Trying to do it with these 3 fingers here. Then 5 to 7 on the D. And then 5 on the G, 7 on the D, back again to 5 to 7 again. And then I'm going to do that reverse rake again and finish on the E note because the chord is going back to the E at that point. All right, that's the whole solo. So I'm going to go back and play it all for you slowly. Have a listen to the beginning of the performance, you know, to play it in time. Just get the licks though. Okay, so 2, 3, 4. There we go, that's the solo. So really all coming from the pentatonic scale there, apart from the notes that I explained to you, which is really on that E chord, and that is really important. The turnaround makes it sound kind of like you know what you're doing, and these other things just give it a little bit of feel, these kind of things. But as I say, if you find them difficult, just take them out, you know, and when you get really comfortable with it, see if you can put them in. So there we go. Hope you had some fun with that. Work on your bends, it's so important. And also, if you can remember to subscribe, that would be really, really good. That'd be really appreciated. Thanks so much. Anyway, nice to see you. See you in the next video.